years old and single. Can you retire? That's what we're going to talk about here today, my friends, at the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. This will be part, I guess, 4 of our series on single and 50, trying to retire at 60. Remember yesterday I was behind, I had the whiteboard behind me down in my basement, and we're drawing all those numbers using my Texas Instruments financial calculator. Now we're going to dive in a little bit deeper using the software that we use that can do all that so quick and easy just with their software program, as opposed to me have to manually calculate in my head and writing on there. So you'll like this a lot. So don't forget to stay tuned. We're probably going to do this in 3 different episodes. We'll see. We'll divide them up into a couple. We'll make sure we don't go over too long on any single episode for sure. So that way we can make sure that we split them up into parts. So a couple of things. We're going to show you the background first and foremost. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to background everything, show you what it looks like when we just do a normal retirement plan. Essentially, we're going to say you're 60 years old or 50 years old. What happens at you're 60, and what happens when your taxes when you hit 70 with the RMDs. We'll stop there. Then we'll change it around to do our when we start converting to Roth IRAs. We'll do that next with Roth IRAs to see what it looks like there as well. Conversions to Roth, and then also we'll do the $10,000 contributions to the Roth as well. So it'll be 2 parts. 1 is going to be traditional. 2 will be Roth, and then we might follow up a 3rd with just doing retirement planning. Say, hey, what's the maximum way you can make this happen? So let's dive right into this. Don't forget to subscribe down below, of course. All right, so here we got a 50-year-old man, Scott Single. He's single. We could have called him Sarah Single. Maybe next time we'll call her Sarah Single. But Scott Single is 50 years old, and he's single, and he's thinking, Josh, I really want to retire at 60. Can I make it happen? I only got $200,000 in my 401k, and I just, everyone's telling me, you can't do it. You're going to run out of money, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. What do you think? And so the first thing we have to do is get a gauge of his, and we have to first and foremost get a gauge of his income and his expenses. Everything is cash flow, my friends. Everything is cash flow. Please remember that cash flow is king when it comes to retirement planning. So his income, as we talked about before, was $70,000 a year. All right. And he's going to make that until he retires at 60. So he's going to do this from 2018 till 2028 when he retires. Social Security. We estimated this based on his numbers that he has. And so he averaged about $65,000 a year as his average index yearly earnings, AIYE. Now, you're not going to find that on socialsecurity.gov or anything, but how much have you earned in any given year for those 35 years? We index or inflate them. We add those together, and then we divide by 420, because 35 times 12 is 420 months. And to get our AIME, your average index monthly earnings, that's the calculation. And here, to get your primary insurance amount is based on your PIA. And we see his primary insurance amount is PIA at 67, because he was born in 1968, which means his FRA, his full retirement age, is 67. His PIA will be 2384. Now, he says he intends to take his Social Security at 70 simply due to the fact that he doesn't want to have any taxes in retirement when he hits 70 years old. So we'll see how that shakes out. All right. So what are his expenses? Well, here we got $22.50 a month. Now, before you start flipping out everything, so that's not enough. Maybe not. Maybe it is, maybe not. But remember, when we're down on the whiteboard behind me, that big whiteboard I had, we're using a $3,500 a month all in expenses. That include everything from taxes to health insurance to you name it. And I just talked to a guy today. I mean, just a nice guy, 56 years old, probably doesn't spend about $2,000 a month. Now, is that true for most people? I don't know. If you're single and you don't have a mortgage payment, it could easily be for sure. The guy I was talking to today actually made a good point. He's like, man, I pay for my house $350 a month. That's just $300 a month because that's property taxes. He goes, even if I were to sell this, I mean, I can't find any place, I can even rent for less than $350 a month. And if I sell it, I'd have to come up with a mortgage, and I don't want to do that. So my cost is $350 a month for this house on 3 or 4 acres in a quiet, nice neighborhood. So, I mean, hard to beat. Once your mortgage is paid off, man, I'm telling you, it makes your expenses go down quite a bit. You'd be surprised. Your mortgage and your taxes, or your debt and your taxes, are two of the biggest costs that you have. So if you can reduce both of those, you're going to be in a pretty good place. So he's $22.50. We'll get a little bit more into the line items here. Don't sweat that. And then his goals He wants to retire at 60, and he says he's going to have 2250, the exact same amount he has now in retirement expenses. And now all these will be inflated. I do inflate all this stuff at 3%. All right, so we're inflating all this at 3%. His net worth consists solely of an investment in his 401k, and we got in the Vanguard Life Strategy Growth Fund. He's got $200,000 in there. That's it. So that's all we're doing. So nothing fancy here. And we talked about his income, savings. Oh, now we got to do his savings here. And in his 401k, he is contributing. He defers $10,000 of his income into the 401k, and his company matches 6%. So 6% on $70,000 is $42,000, $4,200. So basically $14,000. A little bit more than that is going to his 401k each and every year. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So let's first and foremost go to retirement. And let's break down the cash flow. I'm not all that concerned with this yet. I want to show you the cash flows first and foremost. Again, Scott Single, he's 50. He has $200,000 in account. That's all he's got. And he's spending $2,700 a year on discretionary spending, and then $15,000 a year on taxes. So his total outflows are $42,000 a year, which is exactly what we talked about before. $3,500 a month. Taxes and everything else. Again, if you don't have a mortgage payment, it makes it a whole lot easier. But that's his living expense. That's his healthcare cost. That's his taxes. That's everything is $3,500 a month. Taxes and expenses. Now he is spending $10,000 on his savings. All right, so his total inflow is only $60,000 after you take his planned savings. Now he has total outflows of $51,801. So he's got his total outflows with taxes, and then his spending and whatnot, basically $52,000. And his total inflows are $70,000. So when all said and done, he has net income of $18,000, which we're just twiddling away here. We're twittering away, flitting it away, something like that. This is not going to investment account, anything like that. It's just money he's not accounted for. So maybe he actually does spend more than $3,500 a month. It doesn't matter. His total, let's go to his total his expenses. We'll show you exactly. The living expense, we got $27,000. We talked about taxes. Let's see, taxes right there. So here's his total taxes: $6,500 to the feds, $3,000 to the state, $5,300 to FICA. So that's where his total outflows are going. As you can see, he's basically has some positive cash flow, but again, we're not reinvesting that. We're just saying it just goes away. All right. So far, so good. Now the taxes are the big one. Planned savings $10,000 and expenses are $27,000. So at the end of the day, he's netting $18,199. But again, we're not putting that in. All right. So let's keep going down. So now we're at 67. So we're going to take Social Security at his full retirement age initially. I'm not saying we're gonna, but right now we're taking Social Security at his full retirement age. But before we do that, when he retires, he's got no income. All right. So he's got no income coming in. The only thing he's got coming in is the distributions from his 401k. In this case, it's $40,500. All right, his expenses are $3,000 a month at this point, $35,229. And the reason why his expenses are lower there is because his taxes have gone down. His taxes are only $5,349. His income from his 401k is $40,578. So he needs this to live on. Means he's got to take that much out in order to cover the taxes and cover that. Does that make sense? So if he needs $35,000 to live on, he needs to take basically $41,000 out for both the living expenses and the taxes. And we're drawn into his 401k, and then all of a sudden we start seeing positive accounts here because his 401k mandatory distributions are actually higher than his expenditures are. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So this is pretty good. So at the end of the day, we just go to retirement. Actually, let's see what the account's worth. After 401k, he's contributing. Let's see, I'll show you. Here's his 401k. He's got $200,000 after next year. By the time he's 60, he's got $597, just like old Josh said. Remember when old Josh said in 10 years that account would be worth $600,000? And look at that. There we go, $600,000 in his 401k. And then what you can start to see is additions to accounts. That's what he's putting in. We're inflating that each and every year. That's what he's putting in, 14,000, 15, so on. And then he'll start doing withdrawals from accounts. And you can see once he hits 60, he no longer has an income stream. He starts taking money out. And that's until he hits 7 years old when Social Security kicks in and his mandatory distributions. All right, so that's what's going on here. All right, now let's talk about this right here. ending balance by accounts. Now here, because his RMDs are larger than the amount he needs to spend, it is going back into a taxable account over here. All right, so he's taking more out from his required minimum distributions because he has to than he actually spends, which means it's going, in this case, we are reinvesting in a taxable account because he's got to pay tax on that. And that account starts to grow pretty nicely. So what you can see here is he's got $3.7 million when he dies at 95 years old. Again, this is just all linear, so don't pay too much mind to that. All right, so let's go to analysis. And we'll show you what we're looking at under the proposed plan. If we go down here to action items, you can see his discretionary retirement expense is $2,250. Now, at the end of the day, discretionary, I mean, you still got to pay for food, still got to pay for the utilities and whatnot. That might be on the low end. I don't know. But in terms of taxes and discretionary, we're looking at $3,500 a month. And we haven't changed anything in terms of asset allocation. We're just taking Social Security as full retirement age. But what if we just did change this to, we'll say $3,000 a month, and then we'll have taxes on top of that? What will that do to his ability to retire? Well, it drops it pretty significantly from $2,250 to $3,000. His ability to not run out of money drops to 51%. So let's go down to $2,750 here, 2750. 2750. Let's see where we are on time. All right, 10 minutes. So if you go to 72%. So he can take out $2,750 a month. That's $500 extra dollars a month. That's $6,000 a year. And I'm very comfortable with that probability of success without question. 72% is just fine. So let's go to confidence. And let's see what happens here with confidence. And as long as that, so as long as it's dark blue, that's a median. As long as that stays above water or above ground, it doesn't go to zero. I'm pretty comfortable with that. So basically, every year he has a 50% chance of having over 700,000 or less than 700,000. A couple years down here is 463,000, but I'm pretty comfortable with that. And I've said many reasons why, but reason number one is he's not going to spend as much each and every year when he retires, going further and further in retirement, as all software plans that he will. It's just not going to happen. So I'm pretty comfortable right here. So if he were to say, can I do this? I'd say, yeah, you're going to be fine. No other way around that. Now, what happens though if we change a couple things? Let's make this more aggressive and see where that probably won't change much because it's pretty aggressive. Yeah, it didn't change much. So it's pretty aggressive as it is. So let's just go back to current allocation, and then let's change Social Security to age 70 right there. Social Security to age 70. And that should change around pretty good, up to 75%. All right, so if he spends $2,750 a month, and if we take our trusty calculator, $2,750 times 12, that's a discretional of $33,000 a year. So if he's spending discretionary income of $33,000 a year, and that's not including taxes, and he changes Social Security to taking out 70, which is what we want to do, he has a 75% probability of success. And if we go to confidence, it's going to look good. So that looks great. So basically the median grows and grows and grows as he gets older. It goes down to a low of about 70. Let's see. About 69 to 329. Half the time he has 329,000 or more. Half the time he doesn't. But as long as a 25% confidence rate has more than zero in there, which it does here, it got 73,244. I'm very comfortable with that. And you can see it just goes up and up and up. So I'm fine with that. If you were to say, can I retire at 60, take Social Security at age 70, and spend $2,750 a month discretionary on top of taxes, I'd say absolutely, you're good there. All right, so now let's do a couple things. I do want to look at what the taxes look like. So look at that. So we got, this is the federal, 11%. That's the state. I think we got him in Massachusetts at 5%, and that's the FICA. So you can see the taxes on these years are pretty significant. I mean, he's paying over 25% in taxes when he's, look at that. When he's age 59. I mean, so basically between now and 59, he's paying more than 25%. That's about 27%. So he's paying a quarter of his income to taxes. Now, at when he retires, it drops to 15% because he no longer has a FICA, but he still has pretty significant federal taxes at 9.9 in state, and then drops like a brick here. And the reason is because Social Security is kicking in, and Social Security is pretty tax pretty friendly, but look at that. Now his taxes start growing and growing and growing. So let's take a look at what that looks like. And we'll take a look at one of his, let me do this real quick. I want to look at the taxes that he actually pays, and then we'll stop it here in just a second. Let's stop it here, and it'll come back and look at the taxes here. So we'll stop it here for just a second. Part 2, we'll look at the taxes, because that's where we're going to start diving deep into this. So hang with me, and don't forget to